After identifying the four best candidates for president in the Republican field for 2016, I thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool to rank all of the other candidates in the Republican field from 11 to 1? The number 11 candidate being mediocre, and the number 1 candidate being horrible. So it's time for me to do a countdown of the 11 worst GOP candidates running for president. I have to get my Casey Kasem voice on. And at number 11 on our countdown is Jim Gilmore. Now, the thing about Jim Gilmore is it's with him being on the bad countdown rather than the good countdown is Jim, it's more of an intangibles thing rather than a policy position. Rather than his policy positions. Because Jim Gilmore, when you look at his record as governor of Virginia, which was actually a long time ago, was from 1998 to 2002. Just so you know, back in those days, gas was about $1 a gallon. But anyway, from 98 to 2002, he governed as a very outstanding conservative. Some of his accomplishments as governor: he phased out the personal property tax on automobiles. He also reduced college tuition by 20%. That's at all the public colleges and universities in Virginia. And as you know, I'm really, really big into fiscally conservative issues. Another one, he hired 4,000 new teachers in the public schools. And also, as a Christian who's pro-life and one who is socially conservative, another thing I really liked about him was he established a 24-hour waiting period and informed consent for any women out there who are seeking to have an abortion. He also put in place a ban against partial birth abortion too. He was also the former chair of the RNC back in the early 2000s. He also served with in the George W. Bush administration with the War on Terror. He ran as president before. This is very short-lived. It's from April 2007 to July 2007, 3 months. Ran for the U.S. Senate in 2008, and he got the nomination. Okay, but it was just a horrible year for Republicans that year across the country, and he lost by 30 points in that race. And the thing about Jim Gilmore, again, very good conservative record as a governor. However, the reasons for me to include him on the bad candidate list, a lot of it is his poll numbers. They're very weak. They're under 1%. Heck, he might not even have a poll number. It might be 0, as far as we know. CNN declined to invite him to the last debate, and unfortunately that's not Jim Gilmore's fault. It's more CNN's fault on that one. Shame on you, CNN. Let's see what else. And I would just say poor timing on his part for running for president, because he announced his bid to run for president. It was 1 week before the first debate. The first debate was on August 6th. I remember that date because that's my father's birthday. He announced on July 29th. So if you're a candidate who has not been in politics in a decade and you announce to run for office a week before the first debate, you can kind of connect the dots here and see why Jim Gilmore is not doing well in the polls. Personally, for me, with Jim Gilmore, if he really wanted to be president, in 2016, as soon as Mitt Romney lost on election night, or okay, maybe with elections and everything in November, you have the holidays and everything. Okay, best time is January 2013 or February that year. Go to CPAC. Give a speech at CPAC. My name is Jim Gilmore. I have a very conservative record as governor of Virginia, and I want to run for president. And then you spend the next 2 years going to CPAC and all the Heritage Action and all these conservative gatherings and get your name out there, because if you're a fairly new Republican like me, I've only been a Republican since December of '09, so just about 6 years now. There are a lot of Republicans out there who do not know who Jim Gilmore is, and that is why he's not registered in the polls. One more point that I have on Jim Gilmore is, I would say, to end this clip positively, he would be a sneaky good VP choice, because when you look at election night, the strategy of election night, you have three kinds of states as a Republican. You have the reliable states that are going to go Republican, regardless of what happens in the world or the economy, like South Carolina, Mississippi, Alabama. You have your never states, I call them. These are states that are just never going to go Republican ever again. Massachusetts, California. And then you have your swing states. And for a guy like Jim Gilmore, I looked at the numbers of Virginia, okay? And, okay, 2004, the Republicans won Virginia by 9 points, okay? 2008, Obama was able to flip it by 16 points. The Democrats won the state by 7 points, okay? However, here's a positive nugget for you. I'll close with this. In 2012, the state went to the Democrats by only 4 points. So Mitt Romney and the Republican nominee was able to slash the margin back of the Democrats. And maybe if the Republicans nominate a Jim Gilmore for vice president, he can get that state back to into the Republican column. And look, the Republicans are never going to win Virginia again like they did 1988 by 21 points. Boy, would that be nice, but it's never going to happen again, that kind of margin, because of all these liberal locusts that move from D.C. and Maryland into Northern Virginia, and that has tilted that state into purple blue territory. Okay. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, coming in at number 11 on our countdown of the worst presidential candidates. It's not all your fault, but I have to tell you, it's Jim Gilmore. I'm Casey Kasem. Keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars. Actually, no, I'm Bobby Crawford, and see you later. Bye-bye now.